So, thanks for coming in, Joe. Nice to see you.
And you?
Been very busy?
Very busy, very busy.
What have you been doing?
There's an election on, so we've been out knocking on doors, meeting residents, leafleting in Ryde and Sandown and Shanklin, all our high streets, and going to as many events as we can.
Great. And how's it been going?
It's been going good, it's been going well, it's good, yeah. We've had a good reception on the doorstep. Obviously people want to talk about issues and they have concerns, but we found that if we're willing to talk and engage, it's going much better than you would think looking at some of the national stories.
So you don't think the national polls are necessarily going to be, the Tories are in trouble? You don't think that's the case here?
So I think in this election, it's going to be a series of local pictures, and obviously I only know about our local picture because that's where I'm standing and that's where I'm campaigning. And certainly the reception we're getting on the doorstep is much more positive than what the national polls are telling us.
Really?
Yeah.
So why do you want to be a Member of Parliament?
So lots of reasons. As you know, Carol, I've been interested for a very long time, ever since I called up the Isle of Wight Conservative Association in 2001, offering to volunteer for Andrew Turner. And I think it was one Carol Dennett who answered the phone back in those days. So I've always had an interest in issues and things going on around me and how you influence and make changes, even as a schoolboy. But these days it's about making a difference. When I see bad decisions being made, it annoys me, as it annoys a lot of people. And also lack of decision making as well. I think that there's a lot of that in politics and on the island, unfortunately. So I want to get involved in the best way I can. Currently a councillor, I want to take the next step as a Member of Parliament for Isle of Wight East.
Right. So are there any bad decisions by the Conservative government?
I mean, I'm not going to defend all the decisions the Conservative government have made over 14 years. It's been a long time in office. There will have been and there have been mistakes along the way, but I think on the whole it's been probably the toughest set of circumstances in peacetime, what with COVID, and of course war in Europe and instability in the Middle East. So I don't think anyone could have done better, but I'm certainly not going to defend every decision the government's made.
Any particular ones that you don't feel were right?
I mean, clearly in 2022 mistakes were made. I thought Boris Johnson did a good job on the whole. I think he dealt with COVID as best as could be expected given the unprecedented nature of it. But clearly some of the stories we subsequently learned about what was going on in number 10 at the time, some of the lockdown parties were troubling, I can't deny that. And of course the short period that Liz Truss was leader, clearly is a period that we probably wouldn't want to think too much about.
So you've got a young family, haven't you?
Yes.
Two children?
Two children, young children, just starting. One started primary school and the other's at preschool. Yeah, they've been out on the campaign trail.
All right, so the whole family supported.
Well, of course, the Prime Minister called the election. Was it just the beginning of half term or in half term? I can't remember, but certainly we had a chunk of half term.
That was kind of him. Did he consult you?
Sadly not. No, I was surprised by that. Yeah.
But your children were free to go out and...
They were, yeah, and then at the weekends as well they come out. So when we're doing sort of leafleting in the high street with volunteers, it's got a nice sort of free-flowing environment where you're just talking to residents. And as soon as my son saw a rosette for the first time, he thought that looked interesting, so he put one of those on and grabbed some leaflets.
Well trained.
Yeah, he's training himself.
And how's Tanya enjoying the campaign?
She's good. She's enjoying it. Yeah, as you know, Carol, she's very much a people person, so she enjoys it. She enjoys engagement. She's still working, so has to juggle it all. But yeah, she's enjoying it.
So, what is the biggest challenge facing the Isle of Wight? Do you feel?
I mean, it's so hard to pick one, isn't it? I've just been to a ferries hustings, and it's hard to deny that doesn't flow through everything. But I think the number one issue I'm talking about and I'm hearing about is business, jobs, opportunities for young people, opportunities to build a career on the island. We know it's a great place to retire to. We know it's a great place to grow up, as I did. But somehow there's a sense that in between being a child and retiring, it's that there aren't the opportunities that are here on the mainland. So I think that's probably the biggest issue. And of course, ferries play a role in that, of course.
And what can you do as a Member of Parliament about that?
Yeah, so I think it's about influence. I mean, we know MPs don't have formal decision-making powers in their constituency, but they do have an influential role. So I see the next MP as being the biggest sort of ambassador for the island, to go out and, yes, get government grants and money and contributions, but also business investment. I don't think we talk enough about that, and we should as Conservatives. More businesses investing on the island, creating jobs. So when I launched my campaign at a local business in Ventnor, they said to me they want to expand their business on the island, but there are challenges. They did reference transport, and they also referenced being sure there is a large enough workforce on the island that's here already, because they want to employ people who live here.
MPs, every year there's a ballot, as I'm sure you know, for a private member's bill.
Mm-hmm.
And the winner gets to choose a law within some parameters to bring in. So what would you choose as a law to bring in that would have the Joe Robertson brand attached to it?
Yeah, it'd be very tempting to bring in a law around ferries that would include obviously include the Isle of Wight, but it had to be ferries across the UK, and some overriding regulation that ensured prices were fixed and regulated by government each year, and the same with a minimum service, a minimum timetable. I'm not sure necessarily a private member's bill is the best way of doing that, but that would certainly be a possibility, and that would be my sort of number one issue for the island when it comes to creating a bespoke law.
And you live on the island, you've always lived on the island?
Yes, yeah, well I went to university and worked in London for a bit, but I was sort of basically weekly commuting up to London.
And what would you want to achieve for the island? We've talked about what the problems are. Those problems can't necessarily be solved very easily, but what would you like to be your achievement after your first term in office?
So I would like to think people feel it's getting easier on the island, it's easier to live here, there are more opportunities, and that's about working with others. So working with the council of whatever political colour or not that council will be next year, there are local elections. Working with businesses, community groups. I think for me it's about being the island's MP or one half of it, and of course working with the other MP. In a way some of our members of Parliament of the past have been, where it's been a sense it's island more than anything, island first. And going back to really, pre my memory, Steve Ross, obviously in my memory, in my time, Andrew Turner, I think both of those MPs, there was a sense that they were sort of island above party, and that they brought people together.
So the response on the door's been good, has it?
It's been good. I mean, I'm not denying there hasn't been people who are unhappy with the government or the state of the country, in some cases the island, and there haven't been some challenging questions. But it's been much more positive than the national picture would suggest, and there's clearly I'm known to a degree through campaigning and through my role on the council.
Yeah, and have you had anything amusing happen while you're on the campaign trails?
There's been quite a lot of amusing things on the campaign trail, especially involving my children. What was it last weekend? So 2 weekends ago we were out in Shanklin, and my daughter was there handing out leaflets saying "Vote for Daddy." In Ryde, which was great. In Ryde, her line seemed to have changed to "My daddy's a lemon," which is not really the campaign line we were expecting. And I haven't put that on a leaflet yet, but I'm not quite sure what she meant. I mean, hopefully she likes lemons. So
that's good then.
Yeah.
So are you a regular Observer reader?
I am a regular Observer reader. Usually I pick up a copy from my local co-op, but I also online, obviously, if I fail to. Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to give a final message to people who might vote for you or are going to vote for you, or even the ones that will not vote for you?
Yeah, my message is, well, particularly those who won't vote for me, if I am elected, I'll be elected as a MP for the whole East Wight and with the interest of the whole wider island at my heart. And once the election is over, it's not about political colours or who voted for who. It's about an all-island set of MPs or 2 MPs. But before then, I'm campaigning on promoting business and jobs, also improving community care. My background, I work for a charity, helping to grow the number of nurses in the community up and down the country, and also supporting local schools, because I think our schools are struggling, particularly primary education, and there's a great big issue there around school places that the council have got to tackle, and I want to work with them to tackle it in a way that understands the wishes and feelings of parents first and foremost.
Good. Thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you.
Hope you continue to enjoy the campaign, and good luck.
Thanks very much, Karen.